Good morning. It is July 2nd. It's a Tuesday. My name is Bev. This is the Bev D Show. And today is our wonderful day of Tuesdays with Todd. And really looking forward to talking to him about a couple of things today. As well as, finding out what he has to say. It's always good to talk to Todd. It's always gets me a little inspired and motivated on my own front. Todd is my nephew. He is my brother's son, and we have started having this little conversation on Tuesdays. Todd is quite the interesting person that I'm getting the messages, a couple of emails, people saying, that they like the show, and they love hearing from Todd, and he is in recovering substance abuse and alcoholic. I like to lead with that because it doesn't label him, it doesn't profile him. It's just I say that because I hope that maybe we can help someone else who might be going through some of those things. And he is on the sober. We call that sober for how many? I know it's over 1,700 days. Speaking of days, happy birthday, Todd.
Well, thank you.
I have something I want to do. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Todd. Happy birthday to you. We may have just lost any listener that we may have had. But yeah, good morning and happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Marilyn Monroe could have done it better.
Oh no, wait a second. I can do a Marilyn Monroe imitation though. That was genuinely me. Happy birthday to you. How'd she say? Happy birthday, Mr. President. How about that, Wow.
I'm telling you.
I mean, if you're going to cheat, really, the president? Dang. I mean, it's not like no one's going to know.
I mean, if you're going to set high goals, may as well shoot for the top. If you're going to go down,
really?
you may as well do it for something.
Golly. And I mean,
it could have been Susie Q on the corner. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. And then, I mean, it's just, you look at who you're cheating on, and he's not just known for that. He's quite an amazing man. I always liked him. He's one of those that everybody forgives for what he did because of the other things that, over maybe some of the things that he said, or maybe that was who he was more so than just the guy that had an affair.
Well, I mean, somebody didn't forgive him. They shot him.
Well, I mean, do you think that had to do with the affair, or do you just think that had to do with...
You never know.
I don't know, man. I think I definitely, I was listening to Stand By Me. John Lennon was coming through my Spotify, and I said to Tim, I said, I understand nobody gets out alive. I get that. But to actually shoot John Lennon there's got to be a special place for that person. I'm not placing judgment. I'm not God. Of course I'm not. But he was taken too soon.
I remember driving. We were driving down the road when that came across the radio, and I thought Dad's whole world just ended.
Oh yeah, I know exactly where I was. I worked at.
And I didn't understand. I was only. And he just stopped the car, and it was like this catastrophic thing. And I'm like, "What's happening?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I worked at it's now they're all called Macy's, but it was O'Neill's. I worked there in Belden Village in North Canton, and I mean, my knees. When people say their knees went weak, I mean, I thought I was going to faint. Because these guys, the Beatles, I mean, I know where I've been listening to them since I was 3 years old, and it just had that sound and absolute. I grew up with them, and then, you'll see my sisters are always saying stuff about Tommy, and it always ties into music, and he was the one that, when it comes to music, he taught me how to hold an album, and you never touch it with your fingers, and you never put fingerprints on it. And he was the one that was buying stereos, and I learned from him. My dad learned from him, even though my dad might not have wanted to. Tommy was like the sound master, and he had his cars always had that. Music was everything, and he always had a story to tell with it and stuff. But I will tell you this, I do not remember having a conversation with him about John Lennon. And I just think that's crazy, because he and I were very close in that regard. And I remember I was having I don't know, I was having a yard sale at my mom's. And it was like Angelo and I were, just getting married, I guess, and we were just, I don't know. Why would I have a yard sale at my mom's? Anyways, I had this beautiful, it was Paul McCartney. And I don't know if you ever remember seeing it, but your dad, I just gave it to him. I was going to sell it in a yard sale, and he came over and he goes, "You are out of your GD mind." You just hear him. It's a beautiful, they called it decoupage.
Was it that laminated picture on the?
Yeah.
Was it
on wood?
Playing the bass guitar? Yeah. Oh yeah, he still had it.
Yeah. Really? That's cool.
Oh
yeah. He said, "You're out of your mind." I said, "I don't know where this would go. I don't know where, in my new house or apartment, I don't know what I was doing. I was doing a much better job of moving on and getting rid of things than I am now. God, I look like a couple of areas of my house look like I'm a new episode of Hoarder. Jeez. It's bad. It's bad, man. But he did. He just loved it. And I can imagine that his world did fall apart. I have a very dear friend, Denise, who has been friends with me since I think we met when we were 8 or 9, third grade. And we were on our way to band practice when in the summertime when the news came across about Elvis. And we were in her dad's, he kind of gave it to her, but it was this big-ass Cadillac. Big, I think, I don't know. It was either a car or a boat. It was the biggest car. And we just pulled over and just sobbed. I mean, these people get in your soul. Do you have anybody like that? Any mentors or anything anybody you love like that? Actors, singers?
A lot of it. It goes back to music. I had a lot of inspirational people that I still listen to, that I still think are amazing, which I thought was neat, because back when they first came out, even as simple as, even though they're a heavy metal band, Metallica, and I remember listening to them back in the day, and Dad goes, "That's not music, Tom. Let's see if they're around in 20 years, Well, lo and behold, it got to the point before Dad passed away. He's like, "Man, I'd like to see one of their shows." And Pearl Jam the same thing. He really liked Eddie Vedder. He really got a kick out of. But back when they came out, he goes, "They won't be around in 20 years, Tom. They won't be around. They're not Zeppelin. They're not Floyd. It's not going to happen. They won't be playing Metallica records 30 years from now like the Beatles." And I'm like, okay. I was a kid and I'm getting lectured on music. I don't care. I'm listening to it now.
Right.
But he did. And then come down the line, like he wanted to see them, because they were still around, they were still playing, and the music grows on you. It grows on you so much that I literally, and I'm probably going to get struck down by lightning for this. It's almost hard for me to listen to a Led Zeppelin song because it got played so much when I was a kid. And I just it's hard to listen to because it was, I had just been overdosed on it from that.
Yeah.
One of the greatest bands that, rock bands that ever, came about, but, you can also there's such a thing as too much.
Yeah, but yeah, I was listening for the lightning to come through, but it sounds like you're safe for saying that. But no, they're still on my playlist. There are some very favorite, not all, I don't, it's not like I have a Zeppelin album, but I mean, they just absolutely, the Stones. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think your mom, she was pregnant. She went to see the Stones. I don't know who she was pregnant with, but, do you know, he went to see, it was either the Stones or maybe like Paul McCartney, Wings. I think it was Wings. And I found out, and I am not kidding you, I don't know. You know how we are. I didn't speak to her for a couple of weeks.
Sure.
I could not believe he did not ask me. I was so, he said, because he was a brat. He said he was trying to find somebody to go with him. And he ended up going with somebody, one of his friends or something like that. And I go, I never entered your mind. I mean, we were standing in the driveway at Mom's house. I mean, I was hysterical. Can you imagine? Oh my God. That's how much I love music. That's how much I loved him and music.
Have you seen the previews for that movie yesterday?
I saw that movie yesterday.
Isn't that a cool concept? Could you imagine?
No. It is. I'll tell you, that movie, I had no idea. It was kind of like when I saw Forrest Gump. I had no idea what I was watching. Sometimes they overdo it with trailers. Like Dad,
Sure.
Dad used to say, the more in a movie trailer that you see, the worse the movie is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
He is absolutely right. Forrest Gump used to have just that feather. That's it.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is Forrest Gump. That's all they told us in the beginning. And it was just the little white feather with the blue sky. I remember that.
I saw that movie on accident.
Huh?
I saw that movie on accident at the theater. The movie we were going to see was sold out. I said, let's go see what this is. One of the greatest movies I ever saw.
Oh, noisy crying. No, I was embarrassing. My friend, the couple that took us, they actually wanted to, they had already seen it, and they took us and said, you are not seeing that movie without us because we want to watch you cry, Bev. And there was no disappointing. I could not control myself. It just really touched me. It really did. As it did, obviously, everyone else. Going into yesterday, I keep saying, this reminds me of something like your dad. I saw that movie yesterday. Yeah, I know, but did you see the movie yesterday? Like Tom used to, you'd say you liked you too. And he'd go,
who's on first?
Yeah, and he'd go, I like you too. And I'm like, no, I like the band you too. And he just always was pulling that. But anyway, I didn't know really going in. And I can just say that is one of the, first of all, like you said, the concept is insane. I'm jealous, as a writer, I'm jealous I didn't come up with something like that. But they're not popular actors, I love that. So it's very vulnerable. It's very sweet. It's so good. It's such a good movie. Really, really.
You know, what's funny is this is probably